One day, Yakko, Wakko, and Dot were very bored, and they had nothing to do. Dot was the first one to complain about this, and she angrily groaned, "Ugh, there's nothing to do today." Yakko chimed in, saying how they would have had something to do had Hulu renew their show for a 4th season. And Wakko was just hungry. To make matters worse, their cable was out, so they had no TV to watch either. But as Yakko was sitting on his phone, he gasped the biggest gasp he ever gasped before. Wakko and Dot instantly needed to know why Yakko gasped, and Yakko told them, "Remember that incident that happened online a few weeks ago, and it became a really investing story, and we've been waiting for the tea to be spilled? Well, it finally was spilled." This episode of Plushies is called Tea for 3. Wakko and Dot were repeatedly yelling the sentence, "Tell us what happened," over and over again, and Yakko told them to calm down as he would. But the second he went to go click on the video, his phone died, and all 3 of the Warners screamed in horror and ran around like maniacs. Dot told Yakko to find a charger right now, and Wakko started to back up nervously. Dot told Yakko to not just stand there, but get a charger this instant. And that caused Wakko to start backing away. Yakko asked Wakko why he was backing away. And Wakko, though he was very embarrassed, said he ate the charger because he thought it was some long white spaghetti noodle. And Dot tried to kill him. All this commotion was heard by Mrs. Pepper, who scolded the Warners because she was trying to put Sage and Ginger down for a nap. As Dot continued to repeatedly jump up and down on Wakko, Yakko explained that the tea was spilled. And Mrs. Pepper was about to tell them she didn't care until she rethought of Yakko's sentence. And she, too, wanted to hear the tea. So, she handed the twins to Mr. Salt and ran out of there as quickly as she could. Mrs. Pepper was about to bring the video up on her phone when all of a sudden, it died too. So the Warners started screaming again, and this time Mrs. Pepper screamed with them. All this screaming was heard by Bingo, who was in the middle of a game of hide-and-seek with Bluey. Dot informed her that the tea was spilled, and she too wanted to hear it, so she ran to get her phone. Mrs. Pepper, Bingo, and the Warners were shaking in excitement, but then Chili came in and explained that Bingo had enough screen time for the day, so she took the phone away, and they started screaming again. Yakko told Chef Pee-Pee that the tea was spilled, and he got so shocked that he dropped his phone. Mrs. Pepper asked Chef Pee-Pee if they could use his phone to see the tea. Chef Pee-Pee agreed, but then he instantly said, "Uh-oh." When everyone asked him why he said "uh-oh," he told them that when he dropped his phone, it landed in the big bowl of soup that he was making, and now it was ruined. And Dot instantly tried to kill Chef Pee-Pee. Then Cinnamon showed up and asked his mom when dinner was. And Mrs. Pepper explained the whole story to him, and he gasped too, because he wanted to see the tea be spilled for quite some time. And even though he was currently being attacked by Dot, Chef Pee-Pee asked Cinnamon if he had another phone that they could use. Cinnamon said that he did have another cell phone they could use, but as everybody was starting to get excited, he explained that Pepperika was using it right now, and Mrs. Pepper and Mr. Salt encouraged their children to share. Then, Mr. Salt came in and told them that Pepperika gave him the iPad so that he could use it to play a soothing melody for Sage and Ginger, which caused them to fall asleep, and he still currently was using it. When Mr. Salt said he will gladly put on the tea for everybody, they all cheered and Mrs. Pepper kissed him. They all watched the tea together and couldn't believe how investing it was. After it was over, they all said goodbye and moved on with their day. But then, Yakko, Wakko, and Dot got bored again.